Hey everyone, let's talk about the next topic, which is in app ID itself, that is called as custom application configuration in your Palo Alto firewall. So let's discuss that. It's a simple topic. So custom application in your PA firewall. Now, as I've told you earlier regarding this applications, so you can create the applications. You can you can play with the applications that is defined in the Palo Alto network database, right? So in the Palo Alto firewall, on the objects, when you go to the application category, so you can see that currently I've got 5077 matching application, right? And if you want to talk about the application updates, so which means that I can write down application updates as well, which is custom application and app updates, which is nothing but make sure that you select the device tab, and I think I've shown you earlier as well. In the device tab, then you have got this dynamic updates, and ensure that the application and threat version that you have, it is on the latest one. So you can always click on this check now and check the latest releases for the application and threat, and ensure that you review those policies, review those application, read the release notes, and you can download and you can install this, right? We have discussed that is part of, that is also called as application updates. Okay, so make sure your PanDB has the updated application database at every time. So regarding this custom application, what you normally do is in the PAN database, so if you look for the application, these are the 5077 application as of now we have it, but there might be certain applications, so there might be certain application which is org specific, right, your department specific, which is not listed in the PAN database. In that case, you can manually go ahead and create that particular custom application, define the custom application parameters, like the application name, the application signatures, the application port numbers, the application TCP UDP timeout parameters, etc. And then you can call that application in your security policy and take an action, whether you want to allow that application traffic or block it, right? So the custom app ID feature in your Palo Alto network firewall, it allows you to define and control the applications that are not recognized by the built-in app ID databases. So this is very useful when you are dealing with any in-house or any proprietary applications of your organization. Might be some unknown applications that do not match any standard app IDs, application that uses non-standard ports, or might be distinguishing specific traffic with a generic application, right, in that case, right? So how do you do that? So you can click on this add button, so objects, applications, and then click on the add button, and you can define the name of this, right? So you can define, let us say this is ZBN app app1, something like that. So I can say this is custom ZBN application. You can define, so the red ones are the must that you should define. So let's say this is part of the the category, right? For example, network services, let's say networking. Subcategory could be, let us say it's an IP protocol, which is a proprietary one, right? Let's say it is network protocol. I can define the parent type if I know about it. I can define the risk category, right? So let's say this category 2. I can define the characteristics of this protocol if I know about it. In the advanced section, you can set the timeout. You can set the TCP UDP ports if the application uses specific ones. So let's say this is going to be using an IP protocol number, just as an example I'm giving, which is 65, something like that. All right. So you know that there are reserved protocol of 6 and 17 for TCP and UDP, and you can see you can define a custom IP protocol number, or might be an ICMP type, might be a port number. You can define the timeout parameters if you know. You can define the scanning parameters. Likewise, you can look for the signatures, and this is an important thing where you can configure the signature, or you define the pattern of how does the Palo Alto firewall identify that it is a valid application by matching this particular signature, right? So you can add the signature name, right? So you can add the signature name. Let's say this is ZBN custom protocol 1, something like that. Okay, yeah. So similarly, you can give the add or condition, right? You can define with multiple operator, whether it's pattern match or greater than, equal to, less than, right? So let's say pattern match. You can define the context, right? So let's say this is an HTTP request URI path. If this is an HTTP request URI path, and if it matches, let us say as an example, ZBN cust, right? If these characters are matching, that means it is the application which is going to match with the application that we are defining over here, right? The layer 3 application that is defined over here. Alright, so yeah, so you can define multiple conditions in the signature, right? And like that, you can create a custom app. So the name is ZBN app 1, and now you can see it will be listed as 5078. Okay, and you can look for ZBN app. Okay, it will appear, but what you can do is now you can actually go and verify that in the policies. In the policy, you have got this internet access, for example. I can go there, right, and I can actually go to the application section. I can add the application which I have called it, right? So which is this ZBN custom application that I've made, ZBN app 1. I can call this over here, and I can also call the respective dependencies, if I want to allow this particular application. Yeah, so this is the way you normally create a custom application and define it. Okay, similarly, you can configure something called as application override. Okay, so application override is basically a feature where you are going to override a particular allowed application not to look at layer 7 property, right? So let us say you have allowed certain application, okay, which is getting inspected in your security policy, right, at layer 7. But let us say it might be due to whatever changes recently which has happened for this application, you don't want my Palo Alto firewall should look into this application anymore at layer 7. It just look at layer 4 and take a action, right? So in that case, you can define an application override. Okay, so let's say I have allowed this application, which is part of I can actually create one application over here and define that application override. Okay, that means I can go to the objects, I can go to applications, I can create one application. Let's say this is app ZBN override, because this application is getting in beta phase or something like that, or might be this application is currently been modified with certain informations, right? Or it's a new application which has been just launched, right? And I don't want my Palo Alto firewall to inspect this particular application at layer 7. Okay, in that case, let's say it's a business system based application, it's a analytics based application, and it falls under browser based category, risk 1. I can define the port number. Let's say it is going to work for TCP port number, say 443. I can define the timeouts, but one thing I will not define is the signature of it. Okay, so I will just leave the signature option as blank. I will create this application override for this application of business system, and yeah, that's it. So my application override is 5079 now, and I can create So you can go to the policies. Rather calling this in my security policy, I can call this in the application override policy over here, where I can create one application override saying that, hey, app override one, something like that. The source zone, say it is trust. Source address can be anything as of now, let's say, just for lab purpose. Destination is untrust. Protocol, let us say it is working on TCP 443, and the application which I want my Palo Alto firewall to override. Okay, this app said being override this particular application which I have made. I want my Palo Alto firewall to just take a look at layer 4 but not at layer 7 because signatures were not defined, and it will override that. So yeah, click on OK, and this gets overridden, right? So this is how you normally work with the concept of a custom app, or override any application not to look at layer 7 if it has been allowed in the security policy of your Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Please practice it. I'll see you in the next lecture with a new topic. Thank you for watching.